My name is Joshua Pellegrino. The topic I chose for my research paper was, should the voting age be raised or lowered? I chose this topic because it was an interesting one from my study's point of view, and I really liked politics, so it just seemed like a natural fit for me to choose something I already liked. My thesis statement was, the voting age should either stay the same or be raised instead of being lowered to 16. Some of the main points I focused on were maturity, the ability to be open in conflicting viewpoints and discuss in a rational manner, what it means to have a say in representational government, and unique concerns of youth that adults don't always see. Some of my sources were Don't Rock the Vote by David Davenport, Adolescents Are Too Lazy to Vote by Tom Kemp, Oregon May Lower the Voting Age to 16, a CNN production, Raise the Voting Age to 25 by Glenn Reynolds, and A Campaign to Lower the Voting Age to 16 by Miranda Rosenberg. These were very helpful in giving me a different perspective that I did not see beforehand, and that would have made it hard to write this research paper without. Probably the hardest part of writing this paper was making the annotated bibliography, because I'm usually used to gathering sources as I go along, and we were told to make an annotated bibliography before we wrote the paper, which was much more of a challenge to me than I thought it would be. But the main reason that I overcame this was I did a little bit of research on how they're supposed to be formed, and then I also realized that we didn't have to include all our sources in it at the time, but you had to include them in the final overall arcing point of it, so that helped a lot. Another challenge was considering the other side and issues that they had with this. When I already had a solid viewpoint on what I believed and thought was right, it was very hard to consider the other side, but one of the main things and big things that helped me was finding a bunch of different sources in the GCC library, because this helped me consider and bring up other points that I had not thought of beforehand and that were very useful in this paper. One thing I learned about this subject is that there's no real black or white side when it comes to this argument. It's more complex than that. You need to have more information and you need to dive into it more than just picking one side and saying, I believe in this. There were a lot of things that brought up that I hadn't considered before, and not that it changed my thinking, but it did make me reconsider why the other side thinks what they think. Some other thoughts and things I learned was that teens should have the right to vote. Well, because if they're being taxed, they no taxation without representation. This goes against what the founding fathers fought for, because if someone's making money and being taxed on it, they need to have a say in what that tax dollars are going towards. And then another thing is the importance of civic education coming before civic engagement, meaning you need to teach them what's going on in the world and who's running and all sorts of things before you actually let teens and young adults vote. The summary slash wrapping this up that I have is, I think this argument is not likely to be ended soon because there are many nuances on both sides, but 18 seems like a good compromise for now.